Hey there, geeks! Adam coming back at you with another edition of Comic Card Crazy. We're getting ready now to enter a new series, which is we're going to be opening up packs of DC Comics based trading cards. There's some fun history there, some interesting twists and turns. Going to be a little bit shorter than our Image Comics series. But I just want to talk a little bit about my history with DC Comics because I wouldn't say like they're my number one go-to publisher, right? At least like as time has gone on, but they produce some fantastic works and they were a gateway in a lot of ways to my fandom of comics. Like I remember these superpowers. Yeah, you guys remember this from Burger King? These cup holders that they have. I have a full set. I loved these things. They were a big part of my childhood. But of course, speaking of superpowers, how about the actual action figures? This is one my mom found for me, probably like, I don't know, it was like 1992 or something, like long after the series was dead. Old stock in a store, and I was so excited. But also, the Superboy television show. I really got a kick out of this thing. I was watching it all the time. The Superman movies, of course. So DC Comics was crossing over into a lot of media that I was exposed to. But then, as I started getting into comic collecting, I'm going through back issue bins. I was collecting really old stuff. I mean, look at this annual, this giant Superman collection of all these crazy Silver Age stories. I mean, so things like that, I would just start getting exposed to, you know, whether it was Teen Titans, New Teen Titans specifically, but just like digging around then the Ray, you know, like I was really into the Ray, as you know, when that came out with Joe Quesada, started drawing that. So like I eased my way in. Of course, then, you know, you're getting into the death of Superman, the Tim Drake Robin introduction, and his various miniseries, like was like probably the core of my comic collecting in the earliest days. But then, you know, I kind of started moving over to Marvel a little bit more. And DC, though, speaking of Marvel, was kind of following in the footsteps of Marvel, who had had this huge success with their Marvel Universe trading cards. So in 1991, they put out their DC Cosmic cards, right? I'm sure everybody remembers these. They were a big deal. I collected a ton of them, you know, in the interim following my Marvel Universe collecting, to the point where years later in a vending machine, I found a ton of the DC Cosmic cards for sale for cheap. So I just started like pumping dollars into that thing and buying everything I could until I had a full set. And then I was able to make this fun collage, which is upside down. Allow me to flip it. Now it's no longer a Bizarro collage. But check this out here. So as you can see, just a representation of what this series was about. I even have an original trade ad, I think from an issue of a previews catalog there. You see the different styles of the packaging designs, and of course they had holograms as well. So this is going to be very fun to open up this pack of cards. I always hope for a hologram. You never know. It has happened before when I've just opened a pack for fun. So let's get into it. Let's see what we find. Okay, so here we are with our pack of DC Cosmic cards. They tell us it's the inaugural edition. Bonus holograms randomly inserted, 12 cards per pack. Okay, so these were produced by Impel, who would later become Skybox. These are from 1991. As you can see, there's the Out of This World Cosmic Cards Collector's Album that you can order. Always regret not sending away for these things. It is interesting, it does say it gives you 29 card Polypro collecting pages, so they kind of got you started on that. You can also order your free Cosmic Cards checklist. But let's dig into this here. I love that classic art there of Superman. Let's see what we got. Now, the thing I remember about these packs is they were so flimsy. I just felt like, you know, those early days, eventually they get into like these foil packs and things like that. But back then, pretty easy to tear through. So here we go, Fastback, Heroes from Beyond. Now, the gray border is something that was always kind of a misstep in my mind. It just made these feel old and boring initially. But Fastback is somebody I definitely didn't know about. I didn't know about the New Gods or the Fourth World or all these new Genesis things. I knew who Apocalypse was because he was on like the DC Cosmic Champions. What was that one? The final one with the superpowers. But anyway, so the thing I liked about these, though, is they really did give you some pretty cool details about the characters, but also a little trivia at the bottom. True or false, Fastback has outraced the Black Racer himself. True. How about that? So he's basically the Flash of the New Gods, although I guess they were more based on, Roman and Greek gods, so probably Mercury, right? All right, here's another one here. Phobia. This is just like a character I never would have heard of. It's an interesting design, kind of a generic like fantasy Wicked Witch is what it looks like. But let's see here. So she is from the New Teen Titans. Okay, so looks like she's definitely a villain there. She chills to the very bone, the fearsome Phobia, a mutant psychic who cripples her foes with the most horrifying of illusions. Even her fellow members of the Society of Sin know better than to cross this mistress of malice, who can reduce the strongest of heroes to a quivering, quaking shell. Which new Titan has proved to be Phobia's greatest foe? Raven. Alright, well, it does seem like they do have some mystical powers there. Also, calling it an identikit is an interesting idea. All right, now here we go. This is what we're talking about. Let's get some Silver Age Flash Barry Allen. Now, what I loved about these, you'll notice it literally says Silver Age Flash, right? Hero Heritage. That was a very cool feature of this series because they would do Golden Age, Silver Age, and then the modern version of the characters to catch you up on where they came from. So you see here, he was first, introducing the Silver Age, they often say in showcase number 4. Where did Silver Age Flash store his collapsible costume? Well, they got a picture of it right up there. In a specially designed finger ring. Why do they have to call it a finger ring? That's kind of funny. But yeah, just some great art there. Glorious Godfrey, my goodness, definitely had no point of reference for this from the Forever People. So this is another Jack Kirby creation. Glorious Godfrey is Darkseid's hand-chosen Duke of Domination. With the guidance of his Lord Master, Godfrey has time and again used his powers of mind control to toll the death knell for America's superheroes, whose actions were once outlawed by a government order as a result of this villain's malicious manipulations. Gotta love the alliteration there. Okay, oh wait, I didn't read the question first. It says, true or false, Amazing Grace is Godfrey's mother. False, she is his sister. Okay. Here's the guy everybody loves. I need to read more Booster Gold stories. Everybody's like, put him in live action. We want Booster Gold. Okay, so here he is. As we know, he's Michael John Carter, and he is originally a native of the 25th century. That's just kind of interesting how he decided to travel back in time so he could be all that with his future technology. But what was the name of Booster Gold's 20th century company? Gold Star. That is interesting. Okay, I got to learn some of these things because on our main episodes, we're doing the CBIQ quiz now, and I want to be able to answer some of these questions. Okay, Blockbuster. I have read some Batman comics with Blockbuster in them. So Roland Desmond is his name, but he first appeared in Starman number 9. Okay. The Man Mountain Blockbuster, sworn enemy of Starman, was no more than a brainy and frail thief until an experimental steroid bulked him up and buried his crafty cunning beneath a blinding, white-hot rage. Stomping through the Southwest, Blockbuster eventually had his ruinous rampage brought to an end by Starman. Blockbuster may eventually be returned to normal, but will he be able to contain the beast within? Roland Desmond is the second Blockbuster. Who is the first? Ooh, let's check this out. So it was Roland's younger brother, Mark. So keeping it in the family. Nuklon. There's a Marvel villain named Nuke. It feels like there's a lot of crossover here, but let's see what his deal was. So he was an All-Star Squadron, was where he was appearing. The massive mutant named Nuklon possesses shattering strength and steel-hard skin 1 minute and can pass through solid objects like a wraith the next. The secret of the control he employs over his molecular density is an inheritance from his grandfather, the atomic criminal called Cyclotron. So he's a legacy hero of sorts. How did Nuklon surprise the world during Infinity Inc.'s first press conference? Let's find out about this. He revealed his secret identity on Coast to Coast TV. Oh, so Maxima. Now, was Maxima's thing that she came from another world and thought she wanted to marry Superman, like they were meant to be together? Let me see if I'm remembering that correctly. When it came to finding a suitable mate, yep, only the best would do for the warrior queen Maxima, who set her sights on Earth's greatest superhero, Superman. After challenging him with her vast psionic powers, Maxima proclaimed the Man of Steel fit to join her in unholy matrimony. But Superman refused to become the father to her brood of demonic despots. What is the name of Maxima's handmaiden and companion? Let's see here. Sazu. Okay. Not Zazu from The Lion King. Here's the Toy Man. Okay, we were recently reading about how he had become even more villainous getting into this era. Think twice before opening the Jack in the Box if it's a gift from Winslow P. Schott, the terrible Toy Man. What is Toy Man's secret weapon of choice? Let's see here. Exploding action figures. Oh, I love it. I love an exploding action figure. I feel like we need more of those. Okay. Now here's another style, the Cosmic Odyssey, talking about great battles. There's a lot of just like calling back to Jack Kirby, Fourth World, all that kind of stuff here. Let's see. So, double crossed by Darkseid, though the heroes of Earth and their allies, the New Gods, have triumphed in their attempt to prevent the anti-life from destroying our universe, they soon discover that Darkseid has siphoned the sorcery of the demon Etrigan and has gone to face the anti-life directly in hopes of harnessing its infinite energy. Oh, so this was an actual mini-series titled The Cosmic Odyssey. Never heard of it. Never found it in a back issue bin. All right, here we go. Orion. Man, I just can't believe how heavy. I forgot that the New Gods were a big deal here. Yeah, so there he is. A lot of people like this character. He's another one I have not read a lot. Like, people talk about his feral rage, as they say here, when his feral rage takes control. Only the quasi-sentient computer called the Mother Box can calm this savage son of Darkseid. But I don't know what it is that people find appealing. I'm curious. But what Earth alias has Orion used in the past? This is funny. Oh, Ryan. Come on now. All right, final card here. No holograms, but we have Mr. Bones. I believe he is from Infinity Inc. And Todd McFarlane, I think, was drawn on that book at one point. When the man with the invisible skin tries to shake your hand, turn away, for death comes to all who feel his cyanide touch. A reformed evildoer, Mr. Bones has accompanied Infinity Inc. on several adventures until that tempestuous team disbanded. Now Bones wanders America in search of new friends and a new home. That's hilarious that it's just his skin's invisible. He's got skin, you just can't see it. Oh, question here. What annoying habit does Mr. Bones most need to break? Let's find out here. Dun, dun, dun. He is chain smoking. Oh, get healthy, Mr. Bones. All right, well, that does it for this pack. Let's find out which one stood out to me most. Okay, so that was kind of a blast from the past for me to open up another pack of those cards. It had been a while. I was a little disappointed we didn't get the cards that would feature actual comic book covers, because those were always a big deal to me because I would know what to look for in a back issue bin, although most of those were like key issues, so I wasn't really finding them back then, but it gave me some idea what I could be hunting for. As far as the cards that I found the most interesting, I mean, I love just learning about the characters I know nothing about. I don't think I'm going to be reading any of the New Gods books, but I do want to read more Booster Gold. And so just seeing this here, I'm sure a lot of you could suggest some of the best stories, Justice League International and his friendship with Blue Beetle and stuff. But I think that's going to be something I'm going to seek out due to checking out these cards. Now, one thing I wanted to share with you as well is, so there were these cards, but just a few years later, there was another trend that was hitting, which were Pogs, right? And Skybox did actually release some DC Comics Pogs, and then I think there were some that were released like as promotional items as well. You see these Reign of the Superman ones here, but I loved collecting these. I thought they were so cool. Like, there's Blue Beetle right there. So those were awesome. And then additionally, just finishing those off, but then there were also Nightfall Pogs when that story was going on. Now, I should mention here, just as a little trivia, so the rights to produce Batman trading cards at this time belonged to Topps, so there weren't any Skybox, cards that featured Batman, especially in these DC sets. They just couldn't include the Batman universe of characters. So even though it's supposed to be a representation of everything DC published, a big omission there. That was for sure. But either way, thanks for checking out this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, brought back some memories for you. But we are going to keep this rolling here. The series will continue. And let me show you the next pack of cards we're going to open up here. This is really interesting. These are some DC Overpower cards. So I'm really interested to see how they compare to the Marvel Overpower cards, and if they're more like trading cards or if the playing card aspect and even like the art, the coloration is very apparent. So stay tuned, stay subscribed here for that next one, but also make sure you're going back. Like, we have so many videos on the channel from over the years. Even if it's not the newest video, it might be new to you. So go back, check out our haul videos, check out some of our roundtables with Wizard staffers where we've had a lot of great discussions and so much more. So just stay subscribed here to Wizards, the podcast guide to comics. We will be back with more soon, but until next time, keep your books bagged and boarded.